Hi everybody, Mark here with Couch to Camino 2026, and today we're doing part 2 of our training program. This is the resistance. This is resistance training for your Camino. If you have no interest in resistance training, I get it. It's not for everybody. If you're an experienced lifter, you know this sort of stuff, there's going to be nothing on here for you. I'd say go find a better video, but if you want to hang out, give you some pointers, that would be great too. So obviously I brought you guys along to my gym today. I just got done with my workout and I'm gonna show you a little bit of stuff. Now, resistance training, weight training, there's really not any specific exercises that are gonna make the Camino easier for you or make you a stronger or better hiker, but a well-rounded lifting protocol is going to make your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, your muscles, everything work together, and you are going to be a stronger hiker, Camino person after that. So this is for somebody who's never done any lifting, doesn't know anything about it. We're going to cover some very basics and the very minimum of what you might consider doing. And again, I know from looking at the demographics of the webpage that most of the people who watch are let's say in the senior or the retired category. Most of my people seem to be 65 plus. Thank you, everybody. So this is good for you whether you're going to do the Camino or not. So just think about it. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a physical trainer. Take this all at your own risk. I'm just a bit of an idiot who's figured some stuff out. So resistance training. This is just working our muscles, working our joints against resistance. That can be with weights, it can be with resistance bands, these big stretchy guys, body weight exercises, the machines you see behind me, all of them basically do the same thing. We're putting resistance against muscles to build up strength, flexibility, and endurance. This sort of whole body scheme is gonna really help you, help your body get prepared for doing a lot of heavy work. And that may seem for hiking, strange for hiking, but the first few times you do these sorts of exercises, your body's not going to feel great. The 20th time you do it, you're not even going to really notice anymore because your body adapts to the workload. If we can get our bodies adapted to that bigger workload before we head to Spain, it's going to pay off. So this is all really simple. There's nothing super crazy complicated about this. All you need to do is 5 basic body motions. And that is a push, a pull, a push, a pull, and a squat, or bending our knees and bending our hips. To put it in a real world perspective, and I can't remember who I saw, somebody online said this one time and I loved it. Don't think of it as doing exercises. Think about it as I'm opening the door at church. I'm helping my husband out of the chair. I'm putting my luggage in the overhead on the airplane. I'm pulling down the garage door. I'm crouching down to get the wooden spoon off the kitchen floor. It's real life stuff. So the more we can do these real life things, it's going to help us out in the Camino. It's going to help us out in real life. So how do we do these things? Like I said, if you want to use free weights, if you want to use these elastic bands, if you want to use machines, it's completely up to you, whatever you're most comfortable with. If you don't live anywhere near a gym, I would say resistance bands are going to be the way to go because they are very inexpensive. You can pick them up at Walmart, Amazon, probably Target, just about anywhere. These are a great option if you don't have access to a gym or just don't want to afford a gym. If you can afford a gym, places like Crunch Fitness or Planet Fitness for new folks are great. They're inexpensive, they're user-friendly for new folks. They typically have just about everything you need. So, question being, okay, we know the basics exercises we're going to do. How much do we know how to do? Or how do we know how much to do in each of the exercises? In the exercise world, in the lifting world, you're going to hear, you're going to hear things like repetitions, sets, workouts, splits, blah, blah, blah. Let's make that easy. Every time you do an exercise, say a press, every time you do that, that is 1 repetition. 10 of those repetitions, 8 of those, 20 of those, 100 of those. That's a set. A set just being defined by we're doing this, we're going to take a break for a few minutes, get cooled down before we do it again. So for this program, what I recommend is you're just going to do 2 sets of each exercise. And let's just start with 10 repetitions. So a pressing motion, we're going to do this motion 10 times. We're going to take a break, maybe for 2 minutes. Then we're going to do this motion again 10 times. Same with our pulling motion, same with our lifting motion, same with our pulling down motion, same with our crouching motion. We're going to do it 10 times in 2 groups, so a total of 20. This workout should really not take you more than about 20 minutes. Very easy to walk into a gym or grab your resistance bands and do this. It's not overly complicated. So, how much weight do you know how to lift? Do you want to lift one of these little guys over your head? This is a 2.5 pound. So we can lift this over our head. What we're shooting for is at some point when we're lifting this weight, be it the weight, the resistance band, the machine, whatever you're using, at some point we're going to go, I don't think I can do this much more. Maybe 3 or 4 times more and I'm going to be toast. That's where we're going to stop. Now, as you first start, when you first walk into the gym, it's actually okay to use these little guys. You don't have to go to the big guys. You don't have to put the pin down and try to do the whole machine. You're learning, you're warming up into this stuff. So let's say we're just going to find a weight, a resistance, the pin placement on the machine that's going to let us work out just to that point of failure minus about 4, where I think I'm getting close to it. So that first week or 2, it may be very light weights, and that's okay. We're getting used to the motions more than we're getting used to the weight. Once you're used to the motions, and if you're at Crunch Fitness or you're at Planet Fitness, a local gym, you've used a machine to do chest presses, and that machine doesn't feel real good. It's kind of weird on your shoulders because you can't get the seat adjusted right. Try another machine. Try a different way of doing it. Play around. There's no wrong answers. There's just a lot of answers. Find the one that's going to work for you. So we've got our weight. We're going to do it a few times. Okay, that feels about right. As we go through the program, and this is something you should be doing at the same time you're doing your walking program to get ready. So the 3 months, introduction, acclimation, and accumulation, you can do the same sort of thing. And then as we're going into the middle section, then we can start adding a little bit of weight. After a week or 2 or 3, you might say, I think I can do a little more weight. So this week, we're going to add 5 pounds. We're going to add 10 pounds. We're going to do that. We're just going to stay with that weight until we think, hey, I think I can do some more. Then we're going to add a little more weight. I'm not going to tell you what the weights are because it's individual. And you're really not trying to push a whole lot of weight with this. You're just trying to get your body used to supporting the weight and moving the weight and then recovering from that exercise. And everything's going to get stronger. So I may come back and revisit this again, but this is it for now. We're just going to do 5 basic body movements with weight that is challenging but not abusive to our system. And as we go on, and I may do another one of these as we're get later in the season, as we're getting closer and closer to departure date, we may come back and visit this a little bit. But that's it for resistance training. I really didn't want to do a whole lot on this because it's so complicated. Just to give you an idea, if you go to Crunch, if you go to Planet Fitness, talk to the people there. They will be able to help you figure out a bit of a program. If they try to add in a bunch of other accessory exercises where you're doing curls and tricep stuff, you don't need that. That's not what we're doing. We're not trying to bodybuild. We're not trying to become weightlifters or powerlifters. We're just trying to get things solidified so we're going to be a little bit stronger for when we're in Spain for all those months, a month or two, whatever. To catch up with some of the stuff from last week, some of the questions I've got. Weighted backpacks. I typically only hike in my backpack the way I'm going to take it. It's never appealed to me to carry an overly heavy backpack. If you choose to, say, overload your backpack by, say, 10, 15, 20 pounds to make it more challenging, keep in mind it may not be very comfortable because backpacks that are made to carry between, or say 20 pounds or less, if you load it with 30 pounds, it may be very uncomfortable. My REI Flash 40, anything over about 15 to 17 pounds is really not comfortable for me, and I have to go to a different pack. So just kind of play around with it and see. And if you're going to, don't do the weighted pack thing. Don't just jump into it and start with the weighted pack. Walk with your pack light as you go through the adaptation phase into the accumulation phase. Then you can start adding materials to the pack to make it heavier. Bags of beans, bags of rice, whatever. But don't just jump into it. Scale that up with your other workouts. What was the other one? Somebody asked about backpack. Yeah, you're going to wear your backpack through both the adaptation and the accumulation phase. If you want to do it during the introduction too, that's fine. But yeah, once you start wearing the backpack, you're going to wear it through the whole thing. Again, the week off before you leave, you're not going to lose a whole bunch of strength. Your cardio is going to be just fine. Don't worry about that. I call it being in the bubble. I never do anything risky before that, just because if I've been training and planning for a better part of a year, I don't want to do something stupid in that last week just before I leave to kill that process. And actually, I broke my leg before a Camino a few years ago and had to push my Camino off by 6 months because of that. So yeah, good times. So the last thing from last week was hill training and steps. Hang on. Shoot. So if you think about hill training and why I really think a treadmill is okay, being outside is preferable, but somebody mentioned a stair climber or doing steps, say at work or whatever. So here's the issue. When you walk up a set of stairs, if you think about your foot motion, if this is our stair, you're doing this, which your hamstring shortens and really doesn't lengthen that much because your foot is hitting on a horizontal tread if your stairs are to code. But when we're walking on hills, we're actually doing this, where we're getting a hamstring stretch on the inclines. And then on our declines, we're actually stretching the front part, the shin, into the front of the knee. This is valuable training. This is valuable training. This motion of walking upstairs will improve the strength of your legs. It may give you a little more gas, but you're missing out on the lengthening of the hamstring and the development of the calf muscle, which is a little more important, and the stretching of that shin. And the stretching of that shin and getting that shin used to the rigors of walking downhill or walking in flat is going to cut down on shin splints. So think about actually doing your hills. And again, you don't have to go hill crazy. I live in Southeast Kansas. I don't have a whole lot of hills. I've crossed the mountains multiple times, and really the only problem I ever had was one of my backpacks. I had real issues with the fronts of my hips getting very sore. And it turns out because I had my belt too tight. My backpack was too heavy at the time, and it was very uncomfortable. But once I just started unclicking my belt and just walking with it hanging off my chest, it was great. Never had to slow down to let that fire cool down in the hips. So Again, that's why we're training with our backpack, to figure out those little things that are going to come up. And it's better to figure them out now than to figure them out 2 weeks into Spain when it's a lot harder to deal with. Lastly, we got a ton of comments, and I asked you guys to hit the thumbs up, hit the like button on the last video on the training program. Please do that again. I know from my analytics, when I can go into YouTube Creator Studio to look, you guys just hitting the thumbs up pushed that last video to the Camino community. I can actually see the videos and such where it got recommended. And a lot of the traffic, about 3/4 of the traffic we got for our last video, didn't come from browsing. It came from recommendations, which means you guys hitting the like button, the thumbs up, really did help that video. So again, I don't make money off this, but if you think this stuff is helpful, please click on that like button and let's shove it out to the other Camino folks. I'm not going to do a favorite places this time, just because it's kind of weird being in the gym talking to myself. But next week, I'm going to start doing the favorite things. And I've decided to, people have asked, I'm going to start just picking a city or a town, village, road stop. And I'm going to start giving you the budget Camino vibe, couple of the middles, and a high-end lodging option for each of the cities that I've gotten to stay in. And I'll probably just start with Pamplona since I've already got that one ready to go. But I will start that next week, and if I get my bed bug plushie from Amazon in time, we'll do one on bed bugs. If not, we'll figure something out. So, good to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. And like I said, this resistance stuff, it's just a general idea. It's just to get you motivated a little bit. Please get into a gym, check with a trainer. Just tell them, I want these 5 simple motions. I don't need anything else. Help them get you set up. So we'll see you next week, and thanks, everybody.